Welcome to Streams of Light. I'm Sean the Storm Grant, hashtag stormpinball, and here's a rundown of what's been catching my eye lately. Quarantine and self-isolation have created a great opportunity to catch up on some of the amazing TV shows that are available for streaming. What shows have you binged that have helped you through this tough time? The fact is that even though I've watched a lot of TV and movies, there's still a lot more that I want to see. Just shows you how important it is to be efficient with your time. It's definitely the most precious resource for all of us. Here's a rundown of some of the best things that I've had the pleasure of watching over the last couple of weeks. Number 1 is Ted Lasso on Apple TV. Ted Lasso premiered on Friday, August 14th. Unfortunately, I remember that day very well because I was in a horrible mood. I think everyone's strategy right now is to try to stay sane while we figure out how to deal with how COVID is affecting each of us. I lost both of my restaurant jobs, and unfortunately neither of them have reopened to the point where I've been able to work. So I'm not only feeling the financial heat, but I'm also dealing with the uncertainty as to whether or not the New York hospitality industry will ever be the same again. So that's definitely a cause of stress. On top of that, the constant flow of bad news regarding our government's widespread corruption, our country's rampant racism, and natural disasters like wildfires and hurricanes are all alarming enough that I simply can't function if I don't give myself a break from thinking about it all. Friday the 14th was particularly rough because I couldn't get Trump's assault on the post office out of my head. It's profoundly disturbing to me that someone can outwardly say that they're going to deliberately make illegal moves to influence the election, hire one of their corrupt cronies to do it, and then just do it while everyone else just stands around wringing their hands. Luckily, they put a stop to a lot of what they were doing and reversed some of it, but it's still really scary that they even tried to do that. I'm going to end the political rant there. I just wanted to tell you what my mindset was. I needed a break from the idea of how our democracy was under such a naked attack. So I decided to give Ted Lasso a try. I almost didn't, because the faint memory that I had of the character was from an SNL sketch that led me to believe that he was a one-note caricature, but I had faith in Jason Sudeikis, and I figured there was no harm in trying. I am so glad that I did. Ted Lasso is a delightful, funny, feel-good show. It is refreshing to watch a comedy which doesn't insult the audience's intelligence and features well-rounded and constructed characters in fun and uplifting situations. I've watched all 4 of the episodes so far, and I eagerly look forward to Fridays now so I can continue watching the story. Ted Lasso continues the trend of excellent, intelligent, and creative comedies that have been released during the COVID era. On this channel, I've already given high praise to the movies King of Staten Island and Eurovision, but definitely check out Ted Lasso and also the fantastically timed Palm Springs featuring Andy Samberg. I haven't had a chance to review that one fully yet, but I've loved every second of it and I highly recommend it. If you're interested in a more action-oriented show, definitely give a shot to Money Heist, the fantastic export from Spain. I have a rule that if I hear from enough different sources that something is good, I give it a shot, even if it's not something I would normally gravitate towards. This is a habit that I highly recommend you follow because it's led me to a lot of amazing music, TV, and movies. In the case of Money Heist, the biggest hurdle for American audiences might be the dubbing and subtitles, since it is a Spanish show with all of the dialogue originally recorded in that language. I strongly urge you to try to get past that. In fact, the fact that the dubbed lines are often different than the subtitles starts to become an amusing and unique aspect of the experience of watching the show. The characters are excellent, and the story is exciting enough to keep you on the edge of your seat. The first few episodes are good, but the show really starts to pick up steam as you get towards the end of the first season. And by the middle of the second, my girlfriend and I went into full binge mode, unlike anything that we've done since Game of Thrones, where we were fighting off going to sleep so that we could sneak another episode in. You know that feeling when an episode ends and you look over to whoever you're watching it with and you say, hey, you want to go for one more? Or you just watch the first 15 minutes of the next episode because the cliffhanger is so good that you just can't bear to wait to find out what happens? That's the kind of thing that was happening in my house with Money Heist, La Casa de Papel. If you're interested in a reality show, I would highly recommend Tough as Nails. It's done by the same production team that put together the highly entertaining Amazing Race, featuring the same host, Phil Kuhn. It takes 12 professionals with skills in a variety of trades and pits them against each other in work-related challenges, both as teams and as individuals. As with other reality shows, the key is the casting. And I have to say that the staff was very successful in creating a compelling roster of professionals who are all intriguing and worth rooting for. One way that Tough as Nails breaks away from the usual reality show format is that when players are eliminated, they aren't off the show and can still compete in the team events. This allows more screen time for the fan favorites even if they get knocked out of the main individual competition. Good call. The timing for this show is perfect because it highlights how tough American workers can be and how people from different backgrounds and generations can work together and achieve amazing things. I like watching shows that teach me something while entertaining me, and this show definitely does that. Check out an episode and you'll sure to be hooked if you haven't already, and you'll see why it's been as popular as it is. Another excellent show on CBS is the second season of the Jordan Peele-helmed Twilight Zone. It's worth getting CBS All Access for if you're a Twilight Zone fan, and infinitely better than the first season, which was, as I mentioned earlier in my full season recap on this channel, a well-intentioned yet unsuccessful mess. I'm halfway through an episode guide for Season 2, so expect that shortly. Also coming soon is my discussion and feedback on Netflix's expertly made documentary on the history of video games, High Score. They go into amazing detail and get interviews with a lot of the key figures in the development of video game industry, both famous and obscure. Having lived through the era, I'm looking forward to giving you my full take on the miniseries now that I've finished it. I've already made a lot of notes while I watched it because I have a lot to say, but I highly recommend that you check it out. It's extremely well done. A show that's perfect to watch with the whole family is Road Trip, which features former ABC News correspondent Bob Woodruff traveling with his son Mac to some of the most beautiful and remote places on Earth. Bob's goal was to show Mac how incredible the world and its inhabitants are if you can explore them without fear. This is an especially important lesson for Bob personally because he suffered a terrible accident while reporting from a war zone. He didn't want the traumatic and scary incident to permanently color his children's lives, so he takes Mac on a road trip, and they visit gorgeous locales that only the most intrepid traveler would dare to visit. Considering the fact that international travel is close to impossible for Americans right now, it definitely satisfies the wanderlust to be able to see these places and be reminded of how special our planet still is and how kind and hospitable its inhabitants usually are. Personally, I'd just like to thank all the entertainers and industry professionals who have made all of this brilliant content that I've mentioned in this piece. The need for diversionary entertainment has never been so urgent, so thank you for helping us to stay sane and positive throughout this crisis. Please recommend some more shows for me to watch in the comments section and tell me why you enjoyed them. Representing hard work and talent, I am Sean the Storm Grant, wishing you all safety, health, and happiness throughout this pandemic, and reminding you that with better leadership, a lot of today's problems would be a lot less severe than they are. So make sure that you take this time to confirm that you know where and when you are registered to vote, so you can make your voice heard. Peace, and thanks for watching.